Hello everyone, my name is Sally. Welcome back to my video. Today is day 7 of reading challenge. Let's read with me. I'm terrible with directions. I'm not a morning person. I'm bad at remembering people's names. I'm always late. I'm not good with technology. I'm horrible at math. And 1,000 other variations. When you have repeated a story to yourself for years, it's easy to slide into this mental groove and accept them as a fact. In time, you begin to resist certain actions because that's not who I am. There is internal pressure to maintain your self-image and behaving in a way that is consistent with your beliefs. You find whatever way you can to avoid a contradicting yourself. The more deeply a thought or action is tied to your identity, the more difficult is it to change it. It can feel comfortable to believe what your culture believe, group identity, or to do what upholds your self-image, personal identity. Even if it's wrong, the biggest barrier to positive change any level individual, team, society is identity conflict. Good habits can make rational sense, but if they conflict with your identity, you will fail to put them into action. On any given day, you may struggle with your habits because you're too busy or too tired or too overwhelmed or hundreds of other reasons. Over the long run, however, the real reason you fail to stick with habits is that your self-image gets in the way. This is why you can get to attached to one version of yourself requires you to do continuously edit your beliefs and to upgrade and expand your identity. This brings us to an important question. If you believe your world will play such an important role in your behavior, where do they come from in the first place? How exactly is your identity formed, and how can you emphasize new aspects of your identity that serve you and gradually erase the pieces that hinder you? The two-step process to changing your identity. Your identity emerges out your habits. You are not born with preset belief. Every belief, including those about yourself, learned about conditioned through experience. More precisely, your habits are how you embody your identity. When you make your bed each day, you embody embody of the identity of an organized person. When you train each day, you embody the identity embody embody identity 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 of an organized person. When you write each day, you embody embody the identity of your of your of your of a creative person. When you train each day, you embody the identity of an athletic person. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce the identity associated with that behavior. In fact, the word identity was organized derived from the Latin word essential, essentius, which means being an identity with the means repeatedly. Oh, your identity is literally your repeated beginnings, being, beingness. Whatever your identity is right now, you only believe it because you have proof of it. If you go to church every Sunday for 20 years, you have evidence that you are religious. If you study biology for 1 hour every night, you have evidence that you are studious. If you go to the gym even when it's snowing, you have evidence that you are committed to fitness. The more evidence you have for belief, the more strongly you will believe it. For most of my early life, I didn't consider myself a writer. If you were to ask any of my school teacher or college professor, they would tell you I was an average writer at best, certainly not a standout. When I began my writing career, I published a new article every Monday and Thursday for the first few years. As as the evidence grew, so did my identity as a writer. I didn't start out as a writer. I became one through my habits. Of course, your habits are not the only actions that influence your identity, but by vit- virtue, sorry, now let me check it. If you were to ask of any high school teacher or college professor, they could tell you I was an average writer, certainly not a standout. When I began my writing career, I published a new article every Monday and Thursday for the first few years. As evidence grew, so did my identity as a writer. I didn't start out as a writer, I became one through my habits. Of course, your habits are not the only action influence influence your identity, but by virtue of their frequency, they are usually they are virtue of their frequency, they are usually the most important ones. Each experience in life modifies your self-image, but it's unlikely you could consider yourself a soccer player because you kicked a ball once, or an artist because you subwrite a picture. As you repeat these actions, however, the evidence accumulates and your self-image begins to change. The effect of once-off experiences tend to fade away while the effect of habits get reinforced with time, which means your habits contribute most of evidence that shape your identity. In this way, the process of building habits is actually the process of becoming yourself. This is gradual evolution. We do not change by snapping our fingers and describing to someone into entirely new. We change bit by bit, day by day, habit by habit. We are continually undergoing my uh, my evolutions of the self. Each habit is like a suggestion. Hey, maybe this is how I am. If you finish a book, then perhaps you are the type of person who likes reading. If you go to the gym, then perhaps you are the type of person who likes exercise. If you practice playing a guitar, perhaps you are the type of person who likes music. Every lesson you take is role for the Uh, if you practice playing a guitar, perhaps you are the type of person who likes music. Every action you take a vow for the type of person you wish to become. No single instant will transform your belief, but as a verb builds up, so do the evidence of your new identity. This is one reason why meaningful change does not require radical change. Small habits can make a meaningful difference by providing evidence of new identity. And if change is meaningful, it's actually a big that's paradox of making small improvements. Putting this all together, you can see that habits are the path to changing your identity. The most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. Each time you write a page, you are a writer. Each time you practice a violin, you are a musician. Each time you start a workout, you are an athlete. Each time you encourage your employees, you are a leader. Each habit not only gets results but also teaches you something far more important. To trust yourself, you start to believe you can actually accomplish these things. When your voice mount up and the evidence begins to change, the story you tell yourself begins to change as well. Of course, it's worked the opposite way too. Every time you choose to perform a bad habit, it's a vote for that identity. The good news is that don't need to be perfect. In any election, they are going to vote for both sides. You don't need to anonymous vote to win an election. You just need a majority. It doesn't matter if you cast a few votes for the bad behavior or unproductive habit. Your goal is simply to win the majority of the time. New identities require few evidence. If you keep casting the same votes you always cast, you're going to get the same result you always had. If nothing changes, nothing going to change. It is simple two-step process. Decide the type of person you want to be. Prove it to yourself with small wins. First, decide who you want to be. This whole at any level, as an individual, as a team, as a community, as a nation. What do you want to stand for? What are your principles and values? Who do you wish to become? These are the big questions, and many people aren't sure where to begin, but they do know what kind of result they want. To get six packs, ABS, or to feel less anxious, or to double their salary. That's fine. Start there and work backward from the result you want to type person who could get those results. Ask yourself, who is the type person that could get the outcome I want? Who's the type person that could lose 40 pounds? Who is the type person that could learn a new language? Who is the type person that could run a successful startup? For example, who is the type person who could write a book? It's probably someone who is consistent and reliable. Now, your focus shifts from writing a book outcome-based to being a type person who is consistent and reliable, identity-based. This process can lead to beliefs like, I'm kind of teacher who stands for her student. I'm kind of doctor who gives each patient a time empathy they need. I'm the kind manager who avoided advocate, advocate for her employees. One, you have to handle on the type person you want to be. You can begin taking small steps to reinforce your desired identity. I have a friend who lost over 100 pounds by asking herself, what could a healthy person do? All, all day long, she would use this question as a guide. Would a healthy person work or take a cab? Could a healthy person order a burger or salad? She figured if you acted like a healthy person long enough, eventually she could become that person. She was right. The concept of identity-based habits is our first introduction to another key theme in this book. Feedback looks your habits shape your identity, and your identity shape your habits. It's two-way street. The formulation of habit is a feedback look, a concept we will explore in depth in next chapter. But it's important to list your values, principle, and identity right to look rather than your result. The focus should always be becoming that type of person, not getting a particular outcome. Okay, thanks for listening.